Wow. Here we are.
I
Hi.
know that was quick, man.
That was quick.
Quick
That was
draw.
real fast.
Yeah, I did that.
Oh,
I did that.
quick draw McGraw. All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Yes, let's go. Because what you just rip the Band-Aid off sometimes, like that's just what you do. You're like, hey, we got to do this. We could like hem and haw about it forever, but then whatever. Aw, you so cute.
Thank you.
Every time I see that, I read Hubie.
Hubie?
Hubie, Huby. It just for some reason.
Hubie? Yeah, right?
Oh,
it's missing some letters.
Oh, hi, Joe.
Oh, yeah. There's something wrong with mine. I'm gonna have to. Oh, no wonder. Aha. I was wondering why I couldn't see like the chat when no one was posting.
Oh.
I clicked on the wrong one, and I was waiting for 13 days for that one. It's a bit early.
Right. Man, that's gonna be
not just 7 days,
dude.
13.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one's live in 6 days. Aha, this one. This is the one we want.
This is the one. Yes, live right now, right?
Live right now, even. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hoovy, so cool.
Thank you, Neonce. Neonce. I appreciate you say I look good. It's the beard. I know.
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
I did something different with my beard. Did you notice?
Yeah. It's delicious.
It's delicious. Delicious. All right. Well, it's the confidence and good attitude. Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
You're telling me I have a good attitude? I have not been accused of having a good attitude in a while.
Joe, you always have a good attitude with me.
I do? Are you sure?
Oh,
okay.
Even when you're angry, it still feels good, man.
Really? Okay.
I feel even if you're angry, your focus.
What about when I'm angry?
Like where you're driving that? Yeah, I think that
even when I'm
whenever
angry
you're angry, you have this sense of sort of I know this like obvious, but you have a self-control in which through your anger you are able to pinpoint and go in a direction rather than explode and be nasty. I've never seen you in your anger lash out at people unreasonably. If that makes sense. Without reason and with just And so I think that there's an amount of attitude that you have that's good within the quote bad attitude. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it could still be considered a good one.
Gotcha. Is Joe prone to explosions? Yes, in Fortnite.
Specifically when people explode him. Yeah.
And in Overwatch.
Yeah.
Or were you talking about like emotional explosions, like that kind of thing? No, I am not prone to that. Maybe I was when I was younger. I would get mad and I would explode. But now, I don't know, it took a while, but I kind of figured it out how to not explode. And then when I get mad, I can redirect that energy, right? That's the whole idea. It was like, okay. So it was funny. I remember there was this one boss I had that knew this about me, that, when I would get mad, I would do a lot of work and I would do it well. So it was their goal to make me mad. Yeah. Excuse me. So anyway, welcome everybody. Welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. It's the show we do on Wednesday. We usually do topics, but we need some. We have a couple topics in here, but they're really kind of short. And we could go on and on about a bunch of this stuff. I've
been keeping my eye on the topics, but we just got one.
Cool.
All
right.
Yeah. So I'll process it.
All right. Yeah, let's go. So this is our show that's all about you guys, your guys' topics. You guys, we love you. And so that's why we do this show. We want to help in any way we possibly can. We're not professional therapists or counselors or anything like that. We're not legal professionals or accounting professionals or anything. So we can't, we're not a substitute for professional advice, but what we can do is listen to what you have to say. And it's great when you're here in the chat with us and you can expound on the topic as well. And we just want to help any way we can, offer you some love and some support. And, if we can offer some perspective that helps clear up an issue in your head, then that would be great. We would love nothing more than to help in any way we possibly can. So
the topic's been curated.
The topic has been curated. Look at that. Ryan is on the ball, man.
Yeah.
Well,
Beanser did a great job at making it very concise, and that was perfect.
Okay. So it's another one from Beanser.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know who Beanser is?
We don't. I don't know who Beanser is.
Still don't know who Beanser is. I don't know who Beanser is either. I think
Beanser's an anonymous person with a running name.
Yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's Saule.
Thank you so much, Saule. Yeah.
Yo, Saule.
Yeah, I tried to post, hey, submit your topics at don'tworrywednesday.com on the chat earlier, but then I figured out I was 13 days ahead.
Oh, you were in the wrong chat.
On the wrong live.
Yeah. So at least that one's there now for people who
so at least
get to that point in a couple weeks. They'll
yeah, that's right.
They'll be like, okay, let's do some topics. So anyway, yeah. So now we have some topics. Again, if you have something you'd like us to talk about, go to don'tworrywednesday.com, click the submit a topic button. It's right there in the chat. You can just click the link that Saule put in there. Thank you. Yeah, you can do that. You can post something in the chat if you want us to talk about it. You can reach out to us on Discord if you want to talk to us about it. You can reach out to me on WhatsApp, but I only have like 2 people, 2 friends in WhatsApp.
They're both from Germany or no?
Yes.
Okay. Great.
So it's like, if you can find me, then you can send it there, but...
That's so great.
Yeah. So anyway, and you could also call Ryan on his mobile, and his number is, what's your number? Let me look it up.
It's 1-989
390 something.
Your mother.
390 your mother. Wait, that's way more numbers.
It's sorry, 1-989 your mother. That's how it goes.
1-989 your mother.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
That's 989 YOUMOTH month. You have to.
So I got it.
YOMOTHA. Yeah,
your mother.
Yeah, there you go.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. There it is. That's it. 199 your mother. That's it. That's the one. Thanks, guys.
So you can reach out to Ryan on that number.
By the way, I have no idea who you're gonna get if you call that.
Somebody's gonna get calls.
Guys, please don't harass random people online just because their extension is your mother. What video was that from? Yeah, that was from Troll Me, I think.
That's right. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. You and Jesse.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was. Oh my gosh, man. We've been doing this a while. Holy cow. We're getting old. Look at how old you are. I'm still the same age, but that's okay.
Yeah, I was quite young when I did that one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, Back Where I Belong was a great song.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my mother.
Your mother. I remember your mother.
Oh no.
What else is that? Oh, Origami Giraffe, still the classic. I think that's on this channel.
Yeah. Yes, I think so too.
Yeah. So anyway.
Good ones.
Anyway, what do you say? You want to jump in here?
Let's do it.
How you guys doing in the chat? Before we get started, how are you guys doing? You look great. And those silly videos you put back up for a week because someone asked you to.
That's right. And I remember to take him down too.
You did. Yep.
Yep.
Good job.
Uh-huh.
Shampoo.
Uh-huh.
That's right.
Yeah.
If you don't know what we're talking about, go watch Origami Giraffe. It's on this channel. Just like look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very old.
Baka is terraforming in Minecraft. Nyansai is feeling
Oh.
sleepy and motivated. That's
Dang.
an interesting like combination of feelings. Sleepy and motivated.
Yeah.
Like motivated to go to sleep?
That's actually kind of funny. No, I don't think that's what she means. I think she's motivated to like get some work done, but she's sleeping.
But sleepy.
Mhm.
All right.
I feel
Gotcha.
that sometimes.
No. That's not it.
No.
Awesome. How you doing, Ryan?
Beautiful. I'm doing very well, thank you.
Good.
Just recovering from sickness still, but I'm
Yeah.
doing all right. Yep. I've got a lot more energy today than I did yesterday, so that's really great.
Good.
Yeah. How about you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I have lots of energy today, mostly because of the chocolate I've eaten.
Oh, does chocolate give you energy?
Yes, it does. It does to me.
I didn't know that.
If you eat enough of it.
Does it have caffeine in it?
It does have caffeine in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Huh?
No more sleep. You're allergic to chocolate. Aren't you guys both allergic to chocolate?
We're both allergic to chocolate.
Well,
in different ways, too.
I'm not going to bring a bunch of chocolate to your house.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? So we're working at your house, right?
Uh-huh.
And like your bathroom door, we just took the bathroom door off, right? Because it was in the way.
Yeah.
And so now there hasn't been a bathroom door in your house for like ever. And so so you can't close the door when you got to go to the bathroom. And so like so it's just like being in prison, you know. Where you so then I'm like I just beware if I come visit you and I go to use the bathroom and I don't shut the door. It's just a habit.
It's habit. It's just habit at this point. Okay. Yeah, that's hilarious. I'll try to remember. I'll try to remind you. Hey, remember to shut the door.
Shut the door.
That's so funny. That's relatable. That's kind of funny.
Wait, so you're allergic to chocolate. Oh, you didn't know your throat wasn't supposed to burn when you eat it?
Yeah, so and this is kind of funny too because she was talking about honey. And she's like, apparently honey's not supposed to burn your throat. And I was like, what? Now that I think about it, honey has always burned my throat. I just thought that was part of the effect of like the taste. It just like burns your throat.
Well, if you get local honey and you're allergic to the stuff that's local, then yeah, because there's all that pollen it's made from.
Yeah.
You know? Or
So, right. Well, I've had allergies since I was a little boy, and I was just like, I had no idea. I was like, okay, so that means I'm allergic to honey, and she is too, and she's also allergic to chocolate. I'm not allergic to chocolate in that way. Luckily.
And alcohol.
But I'm allergic to chocolate in another way.
Alcohol burns your joints. Well, you know, like, of course, if you pour it on there.
If you pour it on your joints. Oh, my. Yeah. We're finding we're allergic to so many things. We're allergic to fish now.
What?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do for Lent? Tofu?
We're allergic to like everything right now because of where we're at. Everything becomes an allergen.
Everything.
When your histamines are overflowed at like 120%, anything you eat that has histamines in it, you're allergic to it, even if you're not normally allergic to it.
Gotcha.
So.
Especially cheese and cream. Oof. Oof. You know, you could eat this.
Oh. Because it's not cheese.
Because it is not cheese. It's fake.
It's fake cheese.
Fake cheese. Although, I think it said it.
No, it actually does have cheese in it.
It contains milk.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it does have cheese in it.
Ah, bummer.
My bad. But you could try it. It does. Oh, yeah. It says right here, made with real cheese, right on the front. It isn't all real cheese, but it's made with real cheese.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
see. It's not real cheese, but it is made with real cheese.
Ah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Twashu, you just had cheddar sticks. Oh,
What
that
are
sounds
cheddar
good.
sticks?
They're probably like mozzarella sticks, but cheddar.
Okay, that would be
Are
good.
they hot, or are they just like sticks of cheese? Because that's
Or are
good
they
too.
sticks of cheese that they like fry so they're hard, like those?
They're out of the
I forget
oven.
what they're.
Yeah, so they're like mozzarella sticks, but
Oh,
with
okay,
cheddar.
mozzarella stick.
Oh, that sounds
Are they
good.
breaded? Yeah, that sounds really good. I'd like that.
Mm.
I would really like that. That'd be yummy.
You bet it has thickener or gum in it. This stuff, the squeezed cheese,
Mhm.
it doesn't say thickener and it doesn't say gum, but it has a whole bunch of stuff I can't pronounce
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
it. What does cheese taste like? Is that a topic
Mm.
for Don't Worry Wednesday? Cheese tastes like there's varieties of cheese.
The White
We have
Rabbit. Have
all
you never
kinds
had
of
cheese?
cheese. Yeah, that's a good question. Have you just not had cheese before?
Is it against your religion or social things, or just like no one in your area has cheese ever?
Or
That's
lactose
a really.
intolerance?
Or are you just questioning what is the taste of cheese since there's so many?
Depends on the cheese, man.
Mm-hmm.
Have not had cheese. Wow. All right.
I've had no cheese. Okay.
Lactose intolerant.
Oh, you're lactose intolerant. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Mhm.
I don't know. Cheese tastes kind of cheesy, but it depends on the cheese. Like cream cheese
It
is
doesn't taste like it
gross.
smells.
Cream cheese can take a long walk off a short dock.
And into my mouth because I love cream
You can
cheese. I love
have
cream
all
cheese
of the cream
anything.
cheese. Mozzarella is
It's
pretty
so good.
good. Limburger smells like poop. Cheese smells like farts. You know what else smells like farts?
Yeah.
Farts.
Oh wow. Yeah, you're right. Now that you say it, I think that's true.
Yeah. Hey, August,
Yeah.
what's going on, buddy?
Yeah, cheese does not smell good, but it tastes amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to describe it to you though, because that's such a. I mean, how do you describe tastes? It's hard.
It is, and there's such a variety too when it comes to cheeses too.
Oh man, cream cheese
Um,
jalapenos. Yeah, I know those
though,
are so
you know
good.
what? Honestly, I will have cream cheese in like crab rangoons.
Oh yeah, that's
I
really
can
yummy.
handle crab rangoons.
Mm-hmm. Those are good.
Uh-huh.
Those are great.
But most of the time, cream cheese is just gross. Especially
Okay.
everybody was like, "Oh, you put cream cheese on a bagel and it's so good," and I'm like, "No, it's not. It's gross."
What do you put on your bagels?
Butter,
Other than butter. Other than butter. Nothing?
nothing.
Just
Butter.
just butter? Okay.
My favorite bagel
Hey,
is a
that's okay. I've had it that way. It's fine.
plain bagel with just butter on it, man. It's like good.
Mm. It is good. I'll not
Filled
argue that.
jalapenos, then usually breaded and baked or fried. Oh, so good.
My favorite bagel is like, well, you got to put like two kinds of cheeses on there. You got cream cheese, and then you've got like this really nice fancy cheese. It's like
Mm.
it's so good. I forget what it's called. It's ah, I can't remember the name of it. Anyways, it's kind of like a cheddar. It's like a type of cheddar.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, and you put an egg on there that you cook over easy so that you can break the yolk open, and the yolk runs all over your buttered bagel. Oh man, it's so good,
Nice.
so good. Oh, and you put a little bit of mustard powder on there too, and then if you want, you can add some peppers from your garden. If you've got peppers in your garden, if you don't got peppers in your garden, then just buy from the store and get some peppers on there. It doesn't matter what kind, really, just as long as you got a couple on there. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, it's so good, it's so good. That's the best bagel. Takes some time to make, but
Yeah, it
it's
sounds
beautiful.
like quite the event. August
Mm-hmm.
says my crochet reminds me of Static P in Neon Size Game. Are
Oh,
you like
ooh.
leaking game info like on your coffee pages or something?
Occasionally, rarely, but
Okay.
occasionally. But yeah, I'm wondering why August. Yeah, we've talked a lot about our game in streams and stuff. So
Right on.
August has been there for that.
Yeah, yeah. And Whitest
Ooh,
Rabbit
butter and
learned that
cinnamon sugar.
rice
Yeah.
milk existed. I'm wondering
Ah.
what Franzbrötchen. I don't know how you pronounce that. I'm sure, you know what? I'll get on a VC with you, Twashu, at some point, and you can tell me how that's pronounced. I'll be happy to hear it.
Yeah.
And then I'll try and say
Yes.
it, and you can laugh at
And then
me.
you'll laugh and then facepalm.
You'll be like, that is not how it's pronounced.
Wow, I don't know how to pronounce that either. The White Rabbit, have you ever had oat milk?
Brötchen. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not angry enough. You got to say it with a little more anger. I'm kidding.
Oh, yeah. Do I want a voice memo? Not necessarily. We can just, you can just tell me later. That's okay.
I'm happy everyone's doing great today. It makes me happy to hear that. Yeah. Can you say that again, Ryan? I couldn't quite hear. Oh, I was asking if you ever had oat milk. Chobani extra creamy oat milk, or Chobani, it depends on where you're from. It's also called barista. That one's my favorite oat milk, but there are many different kinds of oat milk. Me and my wife love oat milk. It is our favorite to put in like anything that you would normally put milk in. It's so good. We put it in my coffee. We put it in. I literally make a lot of recipes like that require like meats. A lot of my meats, I pour a little bit of to seize the proteins and keep the juice in. It works really well for that. But so does regular milk, by the way.
So,
yeah.
Twashu, I got your message. If I play this, everybody will hear you say it.
Oh.
I totally can. All right. Let's see. Did you hear that? Maybe
No, we didn't hear it.
Maybe it didn't come through. Oh,
Well,
it doesn't
I didn't hear it.
come
Maybe they
through.
did.
It doesn't come through. I thought it was going to come through the stream, but I haven't. Okay. Let's see. I have to listen to Franzbrötchen.
That sounds right.
Franzbrötchen. Yeah. So, all right.
Wow.
So, sorry.
German is hard.
It is, man. It's crazy.
Anyone who
I
says
love it,
that
though. I
English
love it.
is
English
is close to German. I don't know, man.
I go in the
so.
server with all these German people, and I was just in there earlier today, and like they're all speaking German, and I have no idea what's going on. It's hilarious, right? I'm just like sitting there, we're playing Fortnite or whatever, like, or waiting. I'm usually dead and waiting to be rebooted, and there's all this German talk going on, and I'm oblivious to everything going on, but it's like music.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Fair.
It's just. It's wonderful.
I went into I'm a small part of a team that's making a game, and I go in there, and there's 3 people in there maybe 4 people in there who speak French, and the people that don't are Jesse and I, and and I've gone in there a couple times where they're all just chatting away in French, and all I hear is just straight crazy French, and then the F word, and then some French, and then the F word, and then some more French, and then the F word again, and the F word a couple more times, and then more French. And I'm like, wow, they sound angry.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, you guys okay? And they're like, oh, hey, Ryan. No, yeah, we're great. And I'm like, wow, that was a lot of F words. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's just and they're like, wait, what? We didn't even realize we were saying it. It's like it's just so normal for us. It's a normal part of our language
all the
now.
Time, right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Twashu, you don't have to be sorry for being German. That's totally awesome. I love
don't apologize
that.
for that.
I love that, I have a group of eclectic friends, from all over the world, and I love it. I love that that we live in this day and age so I can do that.
I'm German too, so you don't have to apologize.
And you know what?
I just don't speak any.
If I didn't have you guys as friends from Germany, then I would never have a reason to ever go visit Germany, and now I do.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah.
Right? Like, now I gotta go. So.
My mom went to visit Germany, and she loved it over there. She thought it was she really enjoyed her time there. So.
Nice.
I'm sure it's great.
Yep. People do
Yeah,
say,
people do say,
excuse
my French. You're right. You're right, Sole. That makes sense. Now I get it. Now I get why they say that. Yeah.
Germany is not the ghetto. Well, maybe you think it is. Michigan is the ghetto, man. I'm telling you.
Oh my gosh. People around the world say like, "Oh, we're in the ghetto part of town," and I'm like, "Where?"
Yeah.
Right. This is the ghetto.
Clearly, you've never been to Saginaw, Flint, or Detroit.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Or Kalamazoo, or Battle Creek.
Yeah.
Like we've got all
certain
these
parts of. Yeah.
all these towns.
Oh, I can't remember what the name of that one is. Darn it.
Benton Harbor.
Where's oh, it's not Grand Blank.
Grand Rapids.
There's part of Grand Rapids. There's a part in one of those. One of the Grands that has this very, very rundown area. Maybe it's not Grand. Maybe it's something else.
Well,
Darn it, I can't remember the
Grand
name of it.
Rapids is like the second biggest city in Michigan, and so it's got some ghetto parts, right? Because big cities always have like ghetto parts. But like you go to Detroit and it's like all ghetto.
It's all ghetto.
You go to Flint and it's all ghetto. Saginaw is mostly all ghetto.
I think Flint is probably of all of the places I've ever been in my life, Flint is for sure the most like striking. Like with Neonce, I've kind of went in that area once, but we didn't actually go through it.
Mm-hmm.
But you go through Flint, you're just like, what is this? The apocalypse? Like,
it's
what
scary.
happened?
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, it's like the
especially
apocalypse, and everyone wants to
Flint.
kill you. if you end up going through the wrong neighborhood, people will tell you very loudly that you're not welcome,
right?
And you should get out. And if you don't, well, I've never stayed to find out, but I assume it's not good.
Yes.
Yes. And there's like just random gunshot sounds all over the place all the time, and oh my gosh, it's crazy. It's crazy over there.
Well, Steve used to live there. Steve, our BSS president, like that's where he grew up. That's where he lived for a long time, and he loves it there. You know, there's this whole Flint attitude and mentality that's crazy, and they have the best Coney dogs. But like
I remember many, like 4 times in a row, Steve ended up late for a meeting, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I was just talking to the cops. They came knocking on my door because like the neighbors, blah blah blah." Like 4 times in a row.
Yeah, that's
Sorry, I'm late. I got held up by the cops. They wanted to. I was like, again? He's like, no, a different part of town this time. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
So crazy.
Amazing stuff. But so hey, you know what? So I'll come visit Germany, and if it's ghetto, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to Michigan
like
ghetto.
Yeah.
Wait.
I remember being in the ghetto of Denver, and people are like, "It's the ghetto of Denver," and I was like, "This just looks like poverty. This doesn't look like ghetto."
Yeah.
There's a
it's
stark
just like
difference.
Old and not as well kept.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. But there's still people who are living there and they're fine, right? And it's like, yeah, it's a bit dirty, but it's not like every other house looks like it's been abandoned and is being used as a meth lab.
Right. Yeah. Oh, Saule has the definition. A ghetto is a small or poor walled off part of a city. So I guess these aren't actual ghettos because they're not walled off.
I didn't know that walled off part before, I guess I didn't know what ghetto meant.
Yeah.
I guess there's rarely almost any ghettos.
You just call it the hood.
Yeah. Okay. Huh.
But the hood is great.
I didn't know about the walled part.
In the summers, in the hood, it smells so amazing.
So good, yeah. All that fried chicken and stuff.
It's like barbecue chicken. It's like barbecue chicken, trash, weed, and dollar store detergent. Like, because those all smell the same, right? So it's like...
Wow.
That's what it smells like.
Yeah.
Berlin is the ghetto, has the wall. Yeah, Berlin had the wall.
Ah, I see.
You were there not too long ago. Didn't you go to some event? in Berlin? What's the detergent
I always think about
for
Israel.
cleaning stuff?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you got to clean your clothes.
Yeah. Miku Expo. That's right. Yeah.
Fun.
In the big city.
We should do a topic.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do a topic. Hey, I love hanging out with you guys. We could talk all night. We're gonna do a topic and then we can talk some more. It's gonna be great. So we have a couple topics. We have two from Beanzer. I don't know who Beanzer is. But which one do you want to do, Ryan?
Let's just do the first Beanzer, and then if we want, we can do the second Beanzer.
All right. So the first topic from Beanzer that we have is called paper.
This is a weird one. Yeah.
It's really, really simple. So I'll put it up on the screen just for the sake of what?
Mm-hmm.
What do you call it? The sake of. Why can't I think of it? I can't think of the word. The word escapes me. Tradition. That's not the one I was trying to think of, but it'll work. For the sake of tradition, I'll put it on the screen. Here we go.
Great.
Here we go. Ready? Here it is.
Continuity.
How do I protect my paper?
I don't know who Beanzer is, and so I feel like I want more context, but I also don't necessarily want Beanzer to out themselves that their intention is to remain anonymous.
Yeah. So how do I protect my paper? And so I guess the question I would have is, what kind of paper are we talking about? Are you talking about paper that you write on, or are we going back to kind of like back in the gang days? Exactly, neon sign money, because that's that back in the 90s in the hood, that was what money was called, paper.
Yeah,
give me that paper.
Or are we talking about protecting the physical structure of your paper? Like, is it better to put it inside of a plastic casing, or put it in a like a tin foil, or what? Like, or are you talking about like protect the rights or the concepts on your paper so people don't plagiarize from you? Yeah, is it a copyright question?
Oh, that could be too. How do you protect my paper, like my essay, my paper, my thesis or whatever, right? Like, yeah. Then yeah, copyright law would be the way to go, and we are not lawyers. So
that's true.
If you're going to protect your paper as in money, depending on where you're at, you might want to keep it in your front pants pocket. Not the back pocket, because pickpockets easily can pick it out of your back pocket. You could always take it to a bank. That's pretty secure there. You can invest it in a business you own. That's one way to that's a little bit of a risk, but you can make it grow that way.
If you invest all of your paper into 1-ton weights, you're probably not going to get those stolen from you. And you can always convert them back. Hopefully. That's one way to protect it.
That's a good way to do it. Invest in yourself. That's a really good point, Saule. I remember hearing so much, like, if a person who spends money on like books and learning and stuff like that, it's never a wasted investment, because it helps you grow as a person, and then you can then increase your potential earning power or whatever. And so it's a really good way to invest in yourself. The bank goes bankrupt, then you only get so much back. So if you have a lot, you could spread it through banks, I guess. Yes, and I think FDIC insurance is like up to 200,000. I think. So if you have more than 200,000, you gotta like go into different banks because you're only insured up to $200,000. Hey, Nihilus, great to see you. Haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah.
If you're just talking about regular paper, you can get page protectors. What they say, it's some lamination. Yeah. Saule said laminate it. Yeah. I don't know
Yeah.
I don't know how else to go on this topic. How do I protect my paper?
Yeah, the only other one I guess is like if you don't want other people to copy it, then keep it away from the internet.
Yeah.
And I don't know, off of if you're sharing computers with people, don't put it on the computer. Like just keep it on your own little flash drive
Mm-hmm.
and take that with you, if that's what you mean. Yeah, this is a interesting topic that I feel definitely needs more context, but here we are. That's all we got
Yes.
for you.
But for ideas, patents, there's something you learned once. What did you learn, Twashu? But yeah, like you can patent something. A lot of times that goes through the government. If you have it, if you have it physical or printed, ship it to yourself with a timestamp on the envelope. Keep it and keep it sealed. Yes, you can. Yes, you can do that, and that will, I believe, still hold up in court. However, but you'd have to keep it sealed up until the point where you take it to court, right? But a lot of times, if somebody has taken that idea and then gone through the channels of government to copyright or patent it, like that one will kind of get preferential treatment because they went through that effort and spent the money and whatever, right? Not saying they can't overturn it. They can. There'd have to be like undeniable evidence that you didn't, like put it in there after the stamp was on there or whatever.
And also undeniable evidence that they didn't take the idea from you or copy from you.
Right.
Because if they came up with it on their own, then it kind of voids the idea of them taking it from you.
Mm-hmm. See, the cool thing is like, so we do music, right? So like we have had to learn a little bit about copyright and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, the cool thing is nowadays with all electronic, all the DAWs that are out there, the digital audio workstations, as soon as something is in there, it's time-stamped, right? Once you save it. And usually it auto saves, it auto saves backups and all that kind of stuff. So as soon as you record it into your computer, it's copyrighted. Yeah. Because it's got the timestamp on there. You're the one that once you have it in tangible form, it's copyrighted. Now you can also go through the copyright office. They prefer you to do that, but I don't know, that costs. It can get kind of expensive if you do a bunch. And then there's all kinds of weird legal stuff. I remember going through all the government, like information about setting up a copyright and going through the forms and all this kind of stuff and this was back in the day before, like, digital audio workstations were just starting to come out when I was learning about this kind of stuff, right? So it was always like a recording. It was a cassette or an 8-at tape or a CD or a mini disc or whatever. And you'd send that to the government, along with this form that you filled out and $75 or $125 or whatever it was, right? And you got to fill out the whole government form, which government forms that's paper I would not want to protect personally.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Especially as we're coming up on tax season. Fantastic. But so that's how you protect your paper.
Wow. Quite interesting.
Yeah.
We did it.
Hopefully that answers the question.
I hope it does. I hope it answered the question in some way or another.
Yeah.
We can move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Suppose.
Yeah, let's do that, shall we? That'd be good.
Once again, please feel free. You're more than welcome to, and we'd be really happy if you did. Go to don'tworrywednesday.com and submit a topic if you have anything you'd like us to discuss.
Yeah. Absolutely. Or you can put it in the chat right here. We'd be happy. If you have a question or a problem or an issue, whatever, put it in the chat. Just let us know. We'd be happy to talk about it. But now we're going to move on to a different topic from Beanzer.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what? Photocopies on photographic bacon, otherwise known as film. Do we have no more topics? We have one. And we could
Essentially.
and we could probably talk about this one for a while. But yeah, so I will also
We're
put
in need
this
of
one
them,
on the
for
screen.
sure.
We are definitely in need of topics. We can just come up with topics and talk about whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
And we can hang out
I'm
with
pretty
you
good at that.
guys and just we can talk to you guys in the chat, which is fun too. And
Yes, please,
I love
Mianglios.
doing
Thank you. Mianglios. Mian. Forgotten how to say it. It's been a long time.
Mianglios or
Mianglios.
Mianglios.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think.
Thank you.
So yeah, if you want to send us a topic, go for it. Don'tworrywednesday.com. But I'm going to open up this one and put it up on the screen for you. This is called Resisting Procrastination. And it's also from Beanzer. So here we go. It says, how can I keep myself from procrastinating? Beanzer, I love that you're so concise.
Yeah. They're very concise.
Yes, it's great. It's like straight to the point. Like how do I keep myself from procrastinating? And that's a really good question because I don't know. I think this is a very common human issue for us to procrastinate. Disconnect the internet. Sometimes, sometimes your work is on the internet.
Yeah.
And the thing you need to be doing is on the internet. Like, especially as I go through and I'm looking through all the stuff we're doing for the cabinet shop, and I'm like, I got to really put this stuff up on social media. So like Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and figuring out all this kind of stuff. I gotta post all this stuff, and that's the thing. And I procrastinate doing that. So, but turning off the internet probably wouldn't help me post stuff on social media.
Yeah. Just get everything, like get a Word document, put everything you want in there, and then turn the internet on, and then post it and turn it back off immediately. Copy paste.
Yep. Yeah, but I hear what you're saying, Neon Side, that the internet can be a great time sucker. It can definitely take time out of your day and distract you, and you lose focus and whatnot. So Baka says, as a fellow procrastinator, it is very interesting that we choose the quickest way to do simple tasks. Yeah. Because we don't want to be doing it. It's weird because anytime we think about, the thing we have to be doing, I don't know about you guys, but for me, if I feel like, oh, this is the thing I have to be doing, then I immediately don't want to do it because I'm rebellious against myself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, the Whitest Rabbit says maybe focus on due dates or something. Yeah, these are all good suggestions, and they could all be helpful. So what I'm going to do, though, I want to hear what Ryan has to say, because he's got that kind of a personality that, seems to be prone to procrastination, yet he still finds ways to be productive. And so I'm really interested to hear what somebody who's prone to procrastinating does in order to, keep themselves on track and get things done. So, Ryan, it is all yours, my friend.
Thanks. Yeah, definitely prone to procrastination. I mean, I have I'm phlegmatic, so I don't care about tasks, care about people, and I am super reserved. So the outside world doesn't usually have much of an influence on me in terms of like, get that done. It doesn't put fire under my butt. So I'm very procrastinative always. And then also I have ADHD. So
so it's like another,
I have ADD,
like
but
double,
yeah, it's another extra
whammy.
dimension on that. Yeah. So growing up, I had a very difficult time, but I learned later. I don't know, not later in life really, because I learned like around I would say the end of my schooling, how to utilize my ADD and how to utilize my my internal structure in terms of being reserved to get things done. So, I think one thing that was important for me to learn was that if I live my life in my head, as I do, because I'm reserved, I'm instead of extroverted, I'm introverted, right? So live my life in my head. That means like my head is where I'm deciding how I feel and so on and so forth, rather than the world around me having an influence on how I feel and things like that. So I learned to think. Um, I learned to think productively,
Hmm.
and that helps create like an anti-procrastination. So it's like I've fallen. I really enjoy stretching the intellectual parts of my brain because it's tied with a sense of, I guess, probably serotonin or what's the other one?
Dopamine.
Anyways, feel good. Dopamine, yeah, dopamine. Like when you prove yourself intelligent, it feels good, right? When you prove yourself to be intelligent, when you spend time and you come up with a solution or things like this, it feels good, right? And so when I apply myself to something that usually maybe I'm procrastinating on, like I know I need to get it done. Maybe it's a mindless task, but maybe it's not. I find ways to incorporate that. So, for example, let's say it's a mindless task. If it's a mindless task that I know I need to get done, I'm actually excited to do it. Why? Because I know that I can mindlessly do it and think about anything I want in the world and think about like, other projects that I'm working on or excited for. I can like take the time where I'm doing this mindless task, like let's say the dishes, right? Instead of like looking and letting the dishes just build up all the time over and over. And sometimes if I'm straight in my head, I go, you know what? I'm just going to go do the dishes. Why? I actually kind of enjoy that time just to think.
Hmm.
And so I'll go and I'll start doing the dishes, and it will be a great thing for me because I'll have that time to think. Maybe I'll be able to practice singing. Maybe I'll be able to just relax, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just do something monotonous for a while. It's great. But let's say it's something a little bit more mind requiring, like tedious, then if it's something like that, then I know that I will feel accomplished and I will feel inside of solving the issues or inside of doing the tedious tasks, I can find myself enjoying it because I know that I'm applying myself and it really just takes starting. And once the ball is rolling, it just kind of gets itself done, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
this momentum. And so for me, the major parts that I had to get over for procrastination wasn't the activity or it wasn't necessarily like, oh, that sounds like a mess of a long journey to go through and blah blah blah. Mainly, I think the main thing for me is just obtaining the skill of starting. The skill of starting something, I think, is what it took. And so that's just a matter of self-control, which is something that I get to exercise and feels good when I recognize, hey, I did an act of self-control here because I'm awesome and that feels great. And so that's a dopamine rush, right? So that's like, I got to prove that I have the ability to control myself and just start when I said I was going to start or do what I was going to do what I said I was going to do, right? So if it comes to procrastination, I utilize in order to overcome procrastination, I utilize what I know is going to be effective in that I can show like myself that I'm cool. I can show myself that I'm good enough. I can show myself that I'm a man of my word. I can show myself that I have these virtues and these things, and I can utilize that and be like, oh no, I'm better than that. I'm not going to be a procrastinator. I know that I'm better than that. Watch, I'm like, watch me be not a procrastinator right now, and like then I'll go and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's a lot of a lot of self-talk. Now that's coming from me. Like I said, I'm an introverted person, so everything's in my head all the time. It's a matter of me versus me. Am I going to be the best version of myself or not? And then I look at that and I go, well, I want to prove that I'm a good person. I want to prove that I can do this. I want to. It's not just a matter of proving, but it's a matter of being that. Because if I choose the option to procrastinate, that's what I'm going to feel like. It's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be the kind of person that's a procrastinator, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I choose not to be, if I choose to be the kind of person that gets things done, who am I? Well, I'm a kind of person that gets things done, right? That's what kind of person I am. It's like, because I can say that because I'm actually doing that, right? And that feels great. And so how I feel throughout the day is more dependent upon what I think of myself and how I can evaluate my day compared to whatever happened in it, however successful I was in my endeavors. So like, let's say I choose to not procrastinate, but it basically got the same amount of done that I would have if I procrastinated. In other words, I worked really hard at something and I got nothing done. Is that a bad day?
I've been there before.
Yeah, I'm sure we've all been there. For me, I can go like, well, I did all that I could do, which was try. And yeah, it doesn't feel great to have not gotten anything done. It doesn't feel great, but at least I am the kind of person that is doing something, attempting to solve the problem, right? And so then I will feel good about myself, regardless of however my day went, right? But again, that's because I'm an introverted person. If I was an extroverted person, I would look at this problem quite differently. Because as an extroverted person, I think you could still apply the same rules, but your feelings about the day or feelings about the task at hand that you're avoiding are probably primarily based in the world, not based in your head. So you're maybe you don't want to do something because, well, it's not fun, right? And you know it's not fun because you're going to be applying yourself to the world, and the feedback from the world is going to be monotonous. The feedback from the world is going to be, this is tedious and not rewarding. This is not enjoyable. And so if that was how things went, what I would do is I would try to employ some forms of positive feedback within the loop. So I would be like, okay, if I do this activity, I'm going to reward myself with this reward.
Uh-huh.
So I would insert something into the feedback loop that keeps things feeling good and like things are moving forward and things are happy. So it's like, if you're a kind of person that's like, I don't really want to do that because it's monotonous and it's just really not fun to do. It's just so not enjoyable. And I would rather do something enjoyable, obviously, because that hits me where I'm itching, that scratches the itch. Well, I would then go like, okay, well then let's put things into the system of getting things done that are rewarding and are fun. So one, let's look at what parts of the activity could be considered fun, or you could be doing them in a more fun way or a more enjoyable way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Two, let's get our minds on track to think, this activity is not as bad as you think it is. It's actually kind of enjoyable if you have the right mindset, okay? So sometimes I use that for myself, but as an extroverted person, I know that's not easy, but think about those things. But then third, most of all, is, again, injecting forms of enjoyment throughout the activity. So say, hey, if I get this much done, I get to reward myself with this. If I do this much and finish the project, I know my teachers are going to be pleased with me and that's going to feel enjoyable to me, right? I know that my coworkers or my project managers or whatever are going to be happy and pleased, and they're going to be like, yeah, this is good work. And maybe they'll compliment me. Maybe they'll say like, hey, you did a really good job here. This was really inventive. I like how you solved this problem. Like, hearing those things are going to be enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
So let's focus on those things and try to incorporate those things into the work that I'm doing that feels like I want to procrastinate from it. So these are kind of mechanisms I would try to employ if I was extroverted. I'm not extroverted, yet I still do employ some of those, right? Because I know that your experience from the world does determine how you think about the thing. So it's like, if I have a negative experience every time I try to do this one thing, every time I try to do that one thing from now on, it's always going to be like, well, I've always had a negative experience, so I'm going to be negative about it. But if you can switch that around and start making that, because you have to make the experience positive. And that's the hard part. You know, procrastination is just you saying, I don't want to do that yet. I don't want to do that right now. I'll do it later.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's a reason you don't want to do it, right? You're the one that gets to decide what that reason is. And you can shoo it away. You can realize that that's not not even a good reason to not do it, because the rewards of doing it are so much better than that reason of not doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are just things that you have to think about. So for me, procrastination comes down to, like, what am I, a wimp? Like, what, can I not solve this problem? What, can I not just look at it from a different perspective and go, like, come on, like, just look at it from a different perspective if you don't like doing that much. Or, you know, like, sometimes you have real reasons to procrastinate. Like, let's say you get, like, deathly ill and you're in bed, and it's like, okay, fine, you weren't able to go to your construction work. Like, that's fair. You know, that's very fair. Like, sometimes you can't think straight because you're so sick, right? There's nothing wrong with that. That's normal. But there are times where you procrastinate and you know, like, okay, I have no good reason to be procrastinating. I know I can do this. I know I should be doing it. I'm just choosing not to. And so for me, I look at myself and I say, well, that's not the kind of person I want to be. And also there's all sorts of different ways of looking at this that will make me want to do it. I should not be so prideful. I should not be so, what's the word? Stubborn. There we go. I shouldn't be so stubborn that I'm like, no, I refuse to do it, right? Even if I find a reason, that'll be like, yeah, no, this could be rewarding. I shouldn't be so stubborn as to, like, shove that away just because there's other things that I want to do. I think a lot of times procrastination comes down to, I'd rather be doing this than that. And for me, that's totally okay to want to be doing something else. But I think it's important to just sometimes showcase to yourself that you have self-control and be like, there are things I would rather do, but I'm going to do this because it's the right thing to do. So that's going to feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that makes you feel like you've got control over your life and who you are and yourself and the world around you. Because you won't have any control over the world around you if you procrastinate. You're relinquishing control over the things that you know you should be doing. I think a lot of times we exercise procrastination because it's like, aha, I'm the one that gets to decide what I do, and I'm going to do this because it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's actually backwards, because right now what you're showcasing is that you're a slave to the thing that sounds fun because you're unable to get yourself to do the thing that you know you should be able to do. You're unable to get yourself to do the thing that you know you should do because the call for fun or the call for whatever you'd rather be doing is stronger than your own will. And so you have to have the will. You have, you know, your brain, your will is an interesting thing because you have your higher will and your lower will, and you'll will both things at the same time. You're like, well, I wish I am the kind of person that does this thing because I want to have this thing done because it will be good for me and it'll be good for other people. But at the same time, I also want to do these other things that are more enjoyable and you know, they're great. There's nothing wrong with doing them, but they have their time and their place. And so to surrender yourself to the lower will is what gets you in trouble. That's why we call, that's why we have a word for it, procrastination. Like, it's not a good thing, right? And so to surrender yourself to that actually means you don't have freedom. To be able to pursue the things that you know are good requires some amount of strength and self-control, of course, but like you have to work in yourself the ability to self-control. Like, it's a skill. And through achieving that skill, you finally obtain the freedom of pursuing your higher will. Because that's how that works. It's like playing a violin. If you don't know how to play the violin, you don't have any skill in violin, you can't play it. You're not free to play whatever you want. You only obtain the freedom when you achieve master skill level of the violin, because then you are free to do whatever you want on the violin, whether it be play it poorly or play it magnificently. Play any kind of song you want. Play any kind of like style that you want, etc. So the freedom comes from of achieving that skill, and so I think that applies specifically very well to this art of procrastination. The art of self-control over procrastination.
Yes. Overcoming procrastination.
Overcoming procrastination. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Overcoming procrastination, because procrastination is just your lower will getting what it wants while your higher will is kind of being suffocated. So for me, procrastination comes down to like, there are definitely times where I procrastinate in my life, but when it counts, when I know that I'm on the line, I'm pretty good at just applying myself. And that's of course important. And I think it's a skill that we'll always be practicing and getting better at. So I'm no savant, right? I just know that these are the tips and tricks that help me to handle it. And when I recognize I'm procrastinating, it helps me kick my butt and say, I don't want to be that kind of person, and I don't think that that's healthy, and I think that there's a lot more joy to come out of actually doing the project or whatever it is I'm working on than it is procrastinating, because procrastinating doesn't actually create long-lasting joy. It creates a short burst of pleasure, right? But if you actually pursue what it is that you're procrastinating, you actually do create long-lasting joy. You create like you actually create things like better finances. You create things like better social skills. You create things like better self-control. You create things that are longer lasting and good long lasting achievements. But through procrastination, you create short bursts of pleasure, which don't really amount to much, right? Because pleasure only, like, a big difference between pleasure and happiness, or pleasure and joy, is that pleasure only lives until the act is done. The pleasurable, as soon as the act of pleasure is done, pleasure is done, right? You're playing a video game, you're having fun, you turn the video game off, you're no longer having fun playing that video game, unless your mind is just spinning ideas about it, and then that can be fun, but that's an intellectual thing. It's not something that produces pleasure. That's your mind producing pleasure within itself, and you're still doing that. But as soon as you stop doing that, pleasure's over, right? So even if you're like, well, I have fun because I think about it, it's like, well, because thinking about it is daydreaming. That's what they call daydreaming, and it's enjoyable, and it's a form of pleasure.
Yeah.
But as soon as you stop daydreaming about that, the pleasure's gone. It's gone. And that's okay. It's good to have pleasure like that in your life. But it's gone. Joy and happiness are different, because there's something you pursue and you build up. You invest in them. And when you stop doing them, they continue to reap rewards for you, because they are the things that build up who you are as a character, or build up your empire around you, put things into places around you that continue to boost you up. So I think thinking about these things and applying these rules, and recognizing, like, pursuing, procrastination doesn't get me like the results that I want in life, but also is me succumbing to my lower will, which is not something that I want to be. I don't want to be a slave to that. And it's so on and so forth. Like, having all these thoughts helps me personally to go, like, I don't want to be that kind of person. I want to be a better person than that. I want to be the kind of person that does this, even if it's hard. Even if it's hard, even if it's like always keeps me on my toes and it's difficult, it's so much better being that than a procrastinator. And I know we take pride in our procrastination skills. Trust me, because I have. Like, oh, I did this last minute and I got an A on it. Like, I literally walked into the class, sat there for like a minute, and wrote out the entire paper and turned it in and still got an A. Like, that's how good I am at procrastinating. Man. It's like, you get pridefully, it feels good, but it's like, that's not, this is not something to like actually be happy about, because it's not a good skill to develop. It's not, right? And we all know that. But anyways, it's great to be able to improvise, right? It's great to be able to, in a moment, come up with a quick answer for something. That's a beautiful skill. But that's not something you have, like, that's a skill that you can learn without procrastination. And that's not a skill that you want to have every project in your life rely on, It's still a good skill, but it's not, I don't think procrastination has a need there. And nor should we be prideful of it. So anyways, I know I've said a lot. That's my bit. That's my best that I can give you. I know it's a lot of self-talk, and that can be very difficult for certain personalities. So that's why I said the best thing I would do if I'm not a person who talks to myself, spend time injecting joy, injecting pleasures, injecting something that can be enjoyable within the system that you're actively pursuing. So find ways to put rewards hidden within inside. Find ways to make your mind go, oh, that'd be really cool if this person saw it because they would be excited about this. Think about those things as you're doing them because they are going to push you forward and fuel you for the next, 15 minutes or whatever it is going to be, right? Having those interlocked is really a really great way of doing things. I mean, we train animals how to behave that way. We are also of the animal kingdom, and we can train ourselves that way because we're smart enough to train ourselves. So go ahead and, I would say, put those physical or emotional or whatever rewards within the system and try that. Anyways, yeah. Thanks, Joe. What do you have to say? I'm sure you're gonna
thank me. You just were the one that said all that information.
Well, I'm just saying thank you because you gave this halfway over to me, and you'll let me go on for like half a moon. And
half a moon.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Okay. It's been 3 Wednesdays.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, no, thank you, Ryan. And Beanser, I see you in the chat. Thank you for the topic. Thanks for the other topic too. We talked about we talked about how to protect your paper in the last topic, and we we went on a whole bunch of different tangents. Excuse me, with that. So anyway, resisting procrastination. How to overcome this? This is it can be kind of tricky. Go back through, I mean, like Ryan talked about a bunch of different stuff, and all that is good. And some of that's going to fit with you, and some of it might not, just based on, your personality and different, aspects of who you are and what kinds of things turn your crank, right? So, but there are a few things that you can do, and I think self-talk has a lot to do with it. I think there are a couple ways that our self-talk can defeat us really, really easily. And one is that we think and talk to ourselves in our brain about how big of a deal the task is. Right? And so then we grow it into this monster. So now
we run away from monsters.
Exactly. And so then we're like, unless we're very distinct, 10% of the population that would see a monster and want to go kill it, most of us will maybe go do that, but probably not. But anyway, so we create this idea in our head about how big of a deal this task is, or this project, or whatever it is that we have to do, and how the thing that gets me is like when I think about how important it is, and that stops me. It shouldn't. Usually when you think about how important it is to do something, like a lot of times it should energize us. Like, oh, this is a big deal. I got to take care of this, right? The only time that I've ever been like motivated and not procrastinating with something that was really, really important was when it was like a legal issue. I had like legal documents to go. I had to go to court. Or I had something, and it's like, if I don't do this, I go to jail. Right. Or I get, or I get like fined and, everything. So it's like, at that point, it's not just important. It's also urgent. Right. So now here's the thing. We can, there are different ways we can categorize these things. And it's based on urgency and importance. I can't draw a graph for you because I don't have my little, whatever. I mean, maybe I could. But a lot of times, we
ought to get a program.
We ought to get a program. Right?
And it's like, that'd be cool.
And then we could just put it up there. But anyway, so yeah. So when we think of things, you can categorize the stuff that you need to do based on how urgent or important is it, right? So you have stuff that's urgent and important, and that's the stuff like I was talking about, like your court cases, You know, when you have some kind of legal, you're going to get in big trouble if you don't do it, and it's going to mess up your life and maybe the lives of the people you love if you don't handle this thing, right? If you get in like with loan sharks and like they're going to kill you and break your kneecaps or something if you don't pay them back, you got to figure out a way to pay them back. Oh, hey, thanks, Saule.
Thank you, Saule.
So, then you can go down the next one that is, so we have urgent and important, right? And then you have things that are urgent but not important, right? That is where most of our time gets spent. In the area of things that are urgent but not important. Like, man, I really got to go to the bathroom. Or, you know, like we're going based on bodily needs, or we're going based on somebody else coming to us. Like, I'm a parent, right? And so I remember when my kids were little and there was all kinds of urgency all the time. Always.
Yeah.
Urgent. And a lot of it wasn't all that important. Like, I mean, okay, so if my kid takes a dump in his pants and it needs to be changed, right? Like, I don't want him sitting in his poop for a long time.
Or getting
that's
a rash.
That's urgent and important, right? You know?
Mm-hmm.
So, but most of the time, and a lot of times it's people that come to us. Maybe it's our boss, maybe it's our coworkers, maybe it's our friends, maybe it's whoever. And like, there's this thing or the phone rings, or we get a text or whatever it is, or an email. And all of a sudden we have this thing that's right in front of our face and it's urgent, but it's not necessarily important, right? That's where a lot of our time gets spent. So then we have another area that's important, but not urgent, right? And when you're dealing with stuff that's important and not urgent, now that's the stuff mostly that's going to take us to where we need to go in our life.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a business owner now for, over 10 years. I have not had a job. In over 10 years. I've only owned businesses for the last, actually 11 years. Left my last job in 2014. And now I just, I've owned, a string of different businesses. Some were successful, some not. And, you just kind of muscle through. But anyway, as a business owner, I find that the things that are going to move any of my businesses forward fall in that category, where they're important, but they're not necessarily urgent. When we have a job and we have a boss breathing down our neck, those things become urgent because it's like, oh my gosh, if I don't do this, I'm going to get fired. So it becomes urgent. But when you own the business, it's like, I could do this, I should do this, but you know what? I don't have to do it right now. I can do it later. And procrastination, like this quadrant of important but not urgent, is where procrastination happens the most in my life. I can tell you that. Because it's all these things that it's like, okay, this is really important to do. This is really important to do. I just don't really feel like doing it right now. I wanted to, it's got to get done. I know it's got to get done, but it's not pressing on me, right? It's like everything I talked about with the social media, putting up social media stuff for our cabinet company. Mm-hmm. Those are all important, but none of it's urgent. I don't have anybody coming up to me and being like, man, we're going to dock your pay if you don't post this stuff on there. But here's the thing. I'm kind of docking our pay anyway by not posting this stuff on there because I'm shutting the door to potential business by not keeping that stuff up to date. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So we've gone through urgent and important. We've gone through urgent and not important. We've gone through important but not urgent. And then the final quadrant is not important and not urgent. And those are things that you could just probably mostly just not do. Like binge watching Netflix. that we do the most, Neon Side. Exactly, right? Like that.
Yeah.
Yep. But they fall in that category, Now, there's a time and a place for entertainment. We have, if we don't entertain ourselves to some degree, we'll go crazy. If we don't have any fun. I remember I when I was in therapy and I was talking to my therapist, and she's like, Joe, you're the kind of person that just works. You need to schedule fun. Like you need to actively put fun things in your day. Or maybe just have a day where you take it and it's all to yourself and it's fun. Or go kayaking or do something, whatever it is. So, but like to just, a lot of entertaining things fall into that category of not important and not urgent. There are a lot of people that say video gaming falls in that category. I kind of disagree. I think, especially in this day and age, there are people that make their living playing video games and either streaming them, or I know people who like pilot other people's accounts and they make money doing, like they're gaming, and people pay them to like level up their accounts. And I'm like, that's kind of cool, that's a cool little niche, and, but usually if we're just entertaining ourselves and we're not moving things toward a goal, it falls in that not important, not urgent, unless you're so deprived of fun that you're stressed out crazy and, beating people up with your words all over the place, and you're really unhappy, then it's time to do something fun, entertaining, and maybe not important at all. Right? Because we got to do that. We do have to strike a little bit of a balance. But anyway, so when you look at the tasks that you have to do, you look at the things you do with your day, and you can kind of put them in those different quadrants, whether it's important and urgent, whether it's unimportant and urgent, whether it's important but not urgent, and then not important and not urgent. Like you can categorize them. And I'll tell you, it's amazing to me, but always the place we spend most of our time is urgent and not important.
Mm-hmm.
The place we spend the least amount of time is important but not urgent. Usually. But the place that makes the most difference in our lives and growth is that very spot, the important but not urgent category. Those are the things that are going to make the biggest difference. So now here's the issue that I was talking about when I started, whereas like I look at the magnitude of these things, I look at how important they are, and then it freaks me out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be such a big deal. It's probably going to be really hard. Oh my gosh, now I'm stressed out about it because I'm thinking about how big of a deal it is and how important it is, and now it's stressing me out. And it could be just a simple little thing. I talked a couple weeks ago about making a phone call and how hard that was. It was a really simple thing. Making a phone call, putting up a post on social media. It's not that big a deal, but I think of how important it is and it stresses me out. And so then I'm afraid to do it. Right? So then my self-talk has to change. I have to change my self-talk to say, okay, look, this is important, but it's not that big a deal. This is a really simple task. I can totally do it really, really quickly and be done. It's not going to take me long at all. Right? But it's so funny because I have such a list of backed up things in that quadrant to do that I just procrastinate on because I think of the importance of it and then I don't move forward. I don't know if I'm afraid of succeeding or what, but that kind of is the case. It kind of feels like that's the case. So that's one area of self-talk I can change. Is like, okay, this isn't that big a deal. It's important, but it's not hard. It's not super difficult. I can totally do this. I've handled way more difficult things before. I got divorced. Like, that's like the most difficult thing. Like, handling all that craziness. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Here's the other area of self-talk. And that is, I need to convince myself that I'm worthy of achieving the things that this is going to take me in, the direction it's going to take me in. Because I don't know if you're like me, but I have a self-esteem issue. There are a lot of people that have self-esteem issue, right? For sure. We all have struggled in that area. Probably. Except for maybe 10% of the population. The same 10% that goes and jumps in front of the monster and fights the monster. You know, like they might not have a self-esteem issue. But anyway, so if I can change my self-talk about myself, it's saying, I'm good enough. I can totally do this. I've done this before. Or I know how to do this. Or, you know, somehow I have to get my self-talk to change the task from being like scary huge and bring it down to size, bring it into a doable task, and then bring my self-worth up to the point of saying, I can do this. And once I can marry those two things, now I'm poised to do some of the tasks that Ryan was talking about, different ways you can organize things, different ways you can do a lot of those things. But once you get your thinking in order and your self-talk in order, then it's a lot easier to make use of those tools that Ryan was talking about, right? And also, one of the tools that I've used a lot that Ryan didn't mention was using timers. Or maybe you did mention it and I just didn't hear it.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No, I didn't mention it.
But I will use timers a lot of times, especially for recurring tasks or tasks that are bigger, they're going to take me longer than a half an hour. I will set a timer and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to work on this for a half an hour. And then when the timer's up, I'm going to stop. And then I'm going to take a break or move on to something else. And so that aspect of how I was doing things, excuse me, I totally lost my train of thought. So setting timers, right? I did this for guitar playing, years ago, where I was just like, okay, I need to play guitar every day for at least 30 minutes. And so I'd set a timer and I would make myself stop. Even if I was having fun playing the guitar, I would be like, nope, it's time to stop, because I wanted to get myself in the habit of recognizing this is my time window and it's done at that point. And here's the thing that happens. When you work on a timer like that, a couple things happen. One is it's easy. It's a lot easier to jump into because you're like, oh, this is going to be over in 30 minutes anyway. So it's not that big a deal. I can totally do this. Piece of cake. The other thing that happens is once you start recognizing there's an end point, you start trying to compete with yourself a little bit and say, I wonder how much I can get done this 30 minutes. Maybe I can get more done in this 30 minutes than I did in the last 30 minutes. And what you find yourself doing is with that time crunch, I started to get more productive in that 30 minutes. I started to get more accomplished because it's easier to focus when I know there's an end point. And then the other thing is like, oh, there's an end point. If I want to get any of this done, I better go. And so then you start working harder in those 30-minute increments. And it starts to get pretty fun. And you start to see progress, and that creates some of that joy that Ryan was talking about. Where it's not just pleasure. You start to see progress. You start to see growth. And you start to think to yourself, oh my gosh, I'm actually doing this? Before I just dreamed about it, and now I'm actually doing it. I don't know. I feel like a lot of times people don't take me seriously when I talk about wanting to do certain things. Maybe they do, but I'm always trying to find a way. If I'm going to talk about it, I'm going to try and find a way to do it. To me, that's an issue of character. Now, obviously, things don't always work out, and sometimes there's failure involved, and so you don't make it. I've had that happen before too. And sometimes if you've failed a bunch at stuff, it can diminish your self-trust, and so now you don't trust yourself as much to be able to succeed at stuff. And then maybe then you need to find some simple, small wins just to kind of get your confidence boosted back up again. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I don't know. Those are some things. So the timers, and then another thing, one more thing you can do that I found to be very helpful is I would list off the things I need to do. I'd make a list of the things, all those. And then I would kind of sort through that list and I'd be like, all right, this one I'm going to do today, this one I'm going to do today, this one I'm going to do tomorrow, whatever, blah, 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 and kind of go down that list and just kind of plan a little bit, right? And generally speaking, I try to only do a maximum of about 5 per day, 5 tasks. What are the 5 most important things? So I'll pick 5 out of that list of like infinity, which is usually what I have on my plate, a list of infinity things. And I'll pick 5. And I'll be like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And I'm not going, once I get done with all 5 of those, if I still have time left, then I can start like digging into the rest of the list and, into the list of infinity and picking more. But sometimes I'll just stop after those 5 because I'm like, yeah, I was really productive today. I got a lot of stuff done. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. When you start looking in terms of, okay, these are the 5 things. Now, I would say take the scariest one and do it first.
Yeah.
You know which one it is. When you list out those 5, there's going to be one on there that you're just like, no, I don't want to do that one. That's a scary one, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would say grab a hold of that one and do it first. And it might take pumping yourself up a little bit, getting yourself a little bit excited. And you can do this. You can cultivate in your being some excitement.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of doing it right now. I'm making, and maybe you can see it happening in my face and my body language, right? Like I'm trying to do this, where it's like I'm kind of just like making myself excited. And I'm like, okay, I can totally do these things. And then I move forward and I do the thing that I'm scared of. And then once you do the thing that's the scariest on your list, everything else just falls over.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. And then when you start to do this and you start to have the progress, you're going to really enjoy it. It's going to be a lot more fun than just hanging around binge watching Netflix or whatever it is. That unimportant, non-urgent task that we were talking about, right? Is going to be a lot more fun. You're going to look at your life and you're going to be enjoying your time. You're going to be enjoying yourself. You're going to think, man, I'm actually moving forward. This is really kind of cool. And it'll bring some joy to you. So, I don't know. I talked for a long time.
I love where you took that. That's absolutely, I think it's spot on. That was great.
Yeah. Well, thank you. For now, I think that's all that I got. But I'm telling you, Beanzer, you can overcome procrastination. And it's a habit. And the more you overcome that procrastination, the more you just do the thing you need to do. I, in fact, just this week I'm getting back into exercising, right? And I'm doing it a little bit different because I looked at my day schedule and I'm like, okay, I need to do some exercising. I need to do some whatever. And so I'm going to do, I think it was when I got sick. I felt so weak and I was so like out of it. I was like, man, I can't live like that. I gotta have more energy and be in better shape. And so let's start exercising again. And then I started trying it after I had a cup of coffee. And that didn't work out. I tried it after I did my reading and all that kind of stuff. And, after I ate something and whatever, and then go exercise. Nope, that doesn't work. And for this week now, I was like, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wake up. I'm going to drink a little bit of water and go pee, because that's like the very first thing, right? And then as soon as I drink some water and go to the bathroom, I'm exercising when I'm half awake. I'm going to blast music in my ears, and I'm going to exercise. And so far this week, that is working great. And maybe it's that same thing about just jumping in and doing the thing that you feel is the thing you least want to do. I want to wake up slow, man. I want to wake up slow. I want to have some coffee. I want to relax. I want to read. I want to journal. I want to meditate. Meditating is sometimes sleeping.
That's funny.
Actually, like, yeah, I'm just going to clear my head and meditate. And then like a half an hour later, I like wake up. Like,
That was some good meditation. I was so removed.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Hey, Connie.
Oh wow.
How's it going? It's great to see you in the chat. Now I'm nervous.
It's so funny because it was so funny because you're just mentioning you'd like to wake up and like have a slow wake up, have your coffee and spend time thinking. The person I was thinking about was my mom.
Oh, yeah?
I was like, my mom actually, like, it's not like she just relaxes. She actually opens up a lot of like scripture and reads all these Bible things, and she does a lot of that. And I'm like, my mom has the best mornings. Like, of everybody I know, I just think about my mom, and I'm like, my mom has the best mornings because it's just, it's clear, it's devoted to a cause. She's got her stuff down. She makes her coffee. She makes coffee for her husband, and she just, like, she has amazing mornings, and I'm just like, I wish my mornings were that structured.
Now we have an argument going on. We have daughter-in-law, mother-in-law argument going on in our chat.
I do. No, you don't.
Yeah, but like, I do prefer that kind of a morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what happens if I do that? I never get to the point of exercising. Right. Because then I just got to go to work and I got to get going, right? Well,
I think for my mom, I think it's the same thing because it's so hard to have your brain all there for the stuff that she wants to do in the morning, especially with, her condition. So like that gives crazy amount of brain fog. So she applies herself to the hardest task in the morning, which is thinking. And then throughout the rest of the day, she doesn't, like, if she was to do it at the end of the day, which she tried for a long time to like do her prayers and do her readings and stuff. By the end of the day, she was so mentally gone that it's like, how do you like, you can't think straight. How are you gonna like read something?
Right.
How are you gonna ingest it?
when you're falling asleep?
Yeah.
Then
right.
I totally get it.
So she figured out that was her hardest task, and that's what she does in the morning. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah. That's good. That's a really good point. And it's good to figure that kind of stuff out about yourself. One of the things I've discovered about myself is I think a lot more clearly after I've exercised. I'm discovering this again. I think I've done this before where I've gone through these phases where it's like, okay, I'm gonna exercise first. And then what happens is I'm more awake. And so then my reading and journaling and all those things go a lot better because then my mind is more attuned to reality. Does that make sense? So, Connie, I've never seen you procrastinate.
I have to say, growing up with my mom and watching her over the many years, I got to see her every flaw, and You've never procrastinated once in your life, Mom. What are you talking about?
Hero, just go back and watch the beginning of the topic. There was a lot of useful information in here. If you have flaws, Connie, I have never seen them.
Yeah, me neither. You know what? I'll say, I guess, I grew up and always like the whenever you go to the bathroom, you put the lid down, right, on the toilet. But in later years, my mom might have stopped doing that, and so that would be like maybe one flaw.
Put the lid down on the toilet?
Yeah. That's it. That's the only one I can think of.
Huh.
And that's more of like a, it's not like exactly like a mortal sin.
You know what?
It's not a sin at all.
You know what is apparently a sin is leaving the seat up.
Oh.
Not just the lid, but the seat, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
toilet,
the seat. Oh my
especially
gosh.
if you live with, women or females or whatever. And so now, but here's the thing. We have a shop now. We have got a cabinet shop where it's 3 guys that work there, and that's it.
Yeah.
There's no girls. And so it's like, if you got to sit down on the toilet, you're putting the seat down at that time. Otherwise, you put it back up, man.
Put it back up. You guys would hate me if I was working there. It would be down and the lid would be on. The toilet paper would be facing the right direction, and it would have no tears in it.
We'd be
it would be a perfect flat.
We'd be writing you up. Put the seat back up.
You guys would be put the seat back up. I'd be like, sorry guys, being like proper and clean is in my habit. It's just hard to break.
Who says anything about unclean?
Well, you got stagnant water there, and you got like an open lid and poop inside. It's floating out into the air.
Flush it, man.
You think
I'm not
that's
saying
good enough?
I'm not saying don't flush it. I'm saying just leave the seat up.
You guys are not even flushing it. Ew. Okay.
Perfect.
No, it's not really a big deal, right? It's just silly.
The seat will be up, but the lid will be down. I don't think that's possible.
The seat will be literally detached and on top of it.
You'll just yank the seat right off. Great. Well, welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday, where we talk about toilet room etiquette.
Yeah, apparently that's.
But yeah, it was a kind of a funny thing, like, because Steve and I both were very, very single.
Yeah.
And so we're like, hey, you know what? We're guys. We're putting that seat back up. It's like a...
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's so funny.
And then your brother, he just goes with the flow, He's just like, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Ryan, I'm turning it back to you. Did anything spark
honestly
your,
though, I think you did such a great job. I mean, I love that you covered the quadrant thing. I remember that being like, that's super huge. And I think that's more of like a lifestyle thing than necessarily a way to get over your procrastination. But at the same time, they feed into each other. And I think if you decide you want to pick up a better lifestyle that naturally caters to removing procrastination from your life, I really highly recommend just taking a piece of paper, draw 2 straight lines through it, like a plus sign, and then just putting on the top side, urgent, not urgent. On the left side, put important, not important. And then have a list of all the things you need to do. And then and I know if that can be like really huge sometimes, so just put like 10 down that are on your mind. And then put those into where they fit on that list. And if maybe it's like, okay, so I need to clean the bathroom, right? I really need to clean that bathroom. Isn't urgent. It's like, okay, no, it's not urgent because I don't have a friend coming over tomorrow.
I have to clean it twice as often because somebody left the seat and the lid up.
Yeah, that's right. someone left the seat up. So gross. And they flushed the toilet before they put the seat down. Oh, come on, man.
They flushed. Yeah, I flushed the toilet before I went to the bathroom.
Before you went? What about after? Yeah, you don't need to do it then. It's all clean. Everything that comes out of me is clean. Other people that are gross. Anyways, you might find yourself putting something in like clean the bathroom in urgent, or maybe you're like, it's not that urgent. It's just something that's good. It might be like, I have a friend coming over tomorrow. It's urgent and important. You might think, it's just important, or you might think it's not important at all. And so your bathroom will go unclean forever if you never put on that important thing. But I think that sort of, what's the word, discerning will come with time, whether it should be important or urgent or whatever. But if you just draw out that list and fixate on the important and non-urgent stuff, just anything that's in the urgent line, obviously it's like, yeah, I need to do that right away. It's like, of course. But hone in on that non-urgent but important quadrant, because like Joe said, that's where the stuff is that makes long-lasting, life-changing things that are good for you happen. And so I think the more you can take out urgency from your mindset, the easier life tends to be, the more peaceful it is, because a lot of times what we imagine is urgent is not. And there are so many things that are urgent but not important. We just need to stay away from that. So it's like the two opposite ends of the quadrant, treat them oppositely. If it's urgent and not important, just don't worry about it. Remove it from the list, basically. Because and obviously if it's not urgent and not important, then that doesn't need to be there either. But
what if it's your spouse?
That's always important.
Is it though?
Well, your spouse.
What if your spouse comes with you with something very, very urgent and you know that it's not important?
Oh, okay. I get you. Yeah, I get what you're saying. That could be spouse, that could be a friend, that could be anybody. Yeah, that happens a lot. Of course that happens. And you can just kind of, I don't know. Yeah, take that at your own discretion and figure that out. I don't know. I mean, it's other people's stuff. You're going to have to deal with that. Are they urgent? Well, potentially. Are they important? Potentially. But maybe they're not. And sometimes you just go you just have to talk about it.
Do you say, okay, this is not important?
You know what you could do? I think the best thing you could do is be doing this list, this quadrant thing together. And that way, when they bring you something, be like, okay, that's a really important, urgent thing, or be like, okay, that's an urgent but not important thing, right? And you guys can be on the same page. And you might disagree. And if you do disagree, it'd be like, okay, we'll just take the benefit of the highest. So just she thinks it's important. She sees it as important and urgent. Let's do it. Let's find out if it is. I think that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But I think a lot of times, if you talk enough with your spouse hopefully will be on the same page and you'll be able to figure out together. It's like, okay, that's not urgent and important for us. Or that is urgent but not important for us. Or that is important but not urgent for us. Figuring it out together. I think that's a great activity. And you might just have disagreements, but that's totally normal and good, right? In fact, part of it is if you have a spouse, they probably think about things differently from you. And to some degree, that's to your benefit. And you should be thankful for that because they're seeing things that you don't see. Because you have blind spots and they have blind spots. And they might be wrong. They might think it's urgent when it's not. And that happens all the time. But I think it's still important to discuss that and be as level-headed as possible while doing so, right? I don't know. That's my best advice on that. Obviously,
okay.
That's something to solve.
If you have a spouse that's willing to go through that exercise with you,
you have an amazing spouse.
That's pretty good. That's a good situation you have there, probably.
Yeah. I think that if they're not willing to go through that exercise with you, I don't think that the exercise applies. You know what I mean?
Right.
At least in that in that situation
I
because
can
it's
tell
really
you,
more of a you thing
I
than
can
an
tell you to
them
have a
that you
spouse
should-
like that that doesn't go through those kinds of things with you is very frustrating.
I would imagine. Yeah, absolutely.
When you're trying to
You try to plan
move
anything
things
and they're
forward.
just yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah,
So yeah,
no,
all
that's a great
right.
question. Anyways, I just wanted to pinpoint like some of the things you were saying I think are spot on, and a life change that will help you to stop procrastinating would be literally just draw on a piece of paper or your own little worksheet on your computer or whatever you like to reference on your calendar. You can put it directly in your calendar. Put that quadrant, the 4 quadrants of, and put your tasks in there. I love the 5 things that are important to do today.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. I mean, that keeps you right on track, keeps you doing the things that you know that you kind of don't want to do, but like you just get them out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. Like, I definitely is a really great strategy for having a life where you get a lot of good things done.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to say I really liked what you had to say.
Thank you. I really liked what you had to say too. Look at us,
Thanks.
man. We should do a show together.
Yeah, we're so good. We're so nice.
We're so nice.
We like each
You're
other.
so
It's
much nicer than me. Because here's the other thing. Sometimes you need fuel
sometimes I can be
to do
very
this.
mean.
When have you ever been mean?
Come back to me on that.
Is Ryan mean ever? Just put it in the chat.
Sometimes.
Just put it in the chat. No.
Sometimes I'm mean, and then yeah, sometimes I'm mean because I think I'm mean, and then I apologize like every 30 minutes for the next 30 days.
All right. He thinks he's mean sometimes. I think I'm mean sometimes too. I have outside confirmation that it is true. He apologizes. You don't even remember what he's talking about. See, he's a sweet guy. Ryan, such a sweet guy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you guys. You're lovely. You guys are both sweet.
Yeah. You're lovely.
I'm surrounded by amazing people, so it's pretty easy to be amazing myself, you know.
Yeah.
When you're you're most like the people you surround yourself with, and so it's like I just got amazingness all around me. It's chill. I don't even have to try, you know. It's great.
Yep. I will say sometimes you need some energy, and in those moments, it's nice to know how to push your own buttons. You know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's just kind of like the final thing that I thought of about this whole procrastination deal. And one of the things that I had discovered about myself was that anger is a really good tool for me to use. You know, and I don't use anger, and I don't use anger as aggression, where I am mean to people and I, you know, am aggressive with them and yell and punch and whatever. But I use things all around me are always irritating me. I think that's probably partly because of my personality. Like, I'm melancholy, and so I'm like, so things that are imperfect
Nothing is right in the world
bother me. Everything is irritating, and so like I can just take one of these irritants and I can think about it until it makes me really mad, and then I'm mad and I have this energy, and I don't lash out and, you know, whatever, but I can take that energy and then be like, okay, what's the thing that's making me mad? Okay, I can't change that thing, so I'm going to let it go, but I'm going to use this energy and I'm going to plow through whatever I got to do. And it takes a while to put those, to get all those interconnected, took some time and some effort, right? To kind of like piece that whole process together. But I started to discover these things and I was like, okay, this can work for me, and I can use that as power. So you're talking about pushing your own buttons?
Yeah, my buttons are not necessarily related to anger or energizing myself in that way, but definitely I have buttons to press that help me get going, especially when it comes to like competing. By competing against myself, I don't mean like trying to beat my own scores or anything necessarily, though sometimes that's fun. More so, it's when I look at myself and I recognize that there's a better version of me, and it's like, it's me doing that thing, you know, helps push my buttons. It's like, there are times where it's like, oh, this happens all the time. Or like, okay, I don't want to do that. And then I'm like, I don't want to do that? Really? And then I'm like, okay, that sounds like it's the thing I should be doing. And then I think about it like, yeah, that's the thing you should be doing. All right, well then I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna revolt against myself. And I revolt against myself. That's the way I push my buttons. I revolt against, I guess, my lower will, right? And when I revolt against my lower will, it's me acting out against that myself in a way, but it's me pursuing something better at the same time. And that's kind of the way I manipulate myself to get things done. You know, sometimes I'll be like, it'll just be like, sometimes occasionally just menial things like, oh, I could have a cookie right now, you know, or I could revolt against that temptation and be like, I'm not having a cookie. Ooh, but don't you want it so bad? Oh, I'm awesome. You know, it's like I'm better than me. Ha! You know, it's like this attitude. But it really is one of the ways that I can get myself to keep myself on track and doing the right things. Is like, you know, I showed me. You know, it's like, okay, dude, whatever. You know, but it works, right? So that's the way I can push my own buttons in a way. You know,
right on. Neonsai says rewards never work for me. I wish they did. You know what?
Yeah.
Rewards are tough for me too. I'm much better at running away from something bad that's going to happen.
Oh, right.
And running towards something that's good that's going to happen, right?
Yeah,
like you run into an issue. And
I've heard of that from a lot of people.
Oh, thank you, Connie. On a task you really do not want to do, how about visualizing what it would feel like or look like if you complete it? Yeah, that's a great bit of insight, because yes, if you can visualize and you can think about, okay, how much better is this going to be once I do this thing? And then really kind of get your senses involved and think about, oh, this is going to be great, right? You can also flip that on its head for, because that might, the way you put it, Connie, might appeal more to people who respond well to rewards. They see the reward of the thing that's been done, and you know, like you're visualizing that, right? But for people that are more like me, that are more running away from something bad that's going to happen, maybe visualize what it's going to be like if you don't do it. And then we're going to be stuck here, and it's not going to get any better, and the toilet seat's going to be down, and it's going to make me upset, and yeah, all that.
Yeah.
Stress doesn't work for you. You just stand still. Man, okay. Well, I don't know how to help you, Neonsai. You're on your own.
For Neonsai,
except you got Ryan.
Like, for me, it isn't always the case that emotions will have any impact on me, whether it's like a reward or an emotional happiness, right? Or, you know, because the reward generally stimulates some sort of emotion, which is like joy or whatever, right? Pleasure, whatever it is. And the other one, which is fear of something bad happening, or stress because something is about, you know, like things could go wrong, that's not necessarily stimulating in the sense of getting things done either. There are definitely times in my life, and probably every day, that I experience that. And so what I do is I have a thought, and I just think something along the lines of, well, if I don't care if this happens or doesn't happen, what's better? And then it's just like, okay, well, that's logically better. I'll pursue it. But also a sense of, like, who am I training myself to be on a daily basis? So I pursue the thing that will make me be that person that I want to be, because I know that if I can be that person, the world around me will be a better place, and also people around me will enjoy me better, and I'll enjoy them better, and everything will be happier, right? Regardless of whether I get to experience that reward or not, I know that the reality is, if I pursue the better version of myself, which is to pursue the activities which create goods, that I will, whether I will experience them or not, goodness will abound, as opposed to nothing happening at all. And I would rather there be more goodness. So for me, even when I don't have the emotional appeal or a reward system, I can still think about like, well, you know, I mean, we talked about this before, I think last stream, keeping the main thing, right? And for me, that is being an example of God's love in the world, or being a mirror of God's light in the world, right? So just my daily activities can revolve around doing good in the world, and that helps set me straight, regardless of how I'm feeling about any of it. Because I can absolutely resound with the concepts of like, I could not do that and I'd still be happy. And it's urgent and important, but I know if I just don't do it, I'll be okay and I'll still be happy. Just because I know that I've got that figured out. I've got happiness set out and it's not affected by the world around me anymore. That's like, okay, so you've gotten to that stage. That's dangerous. It kind of is dangerous because now you don't have something like happiness or dopamine or whatever guiding you down the right path. So now it's all just a matter of like really controlling yourself, and that it's hard. So if you take away rewards and stuff, and rewards don't affect you, I think the best thing you can do is just decide that that's the kind of person you're going to be, so that you can continue to be that kind of person, and reward those around you with that. I don't know. That's my best.
Gotcha.
Because it is hard. Like if you've got, like, it is hard in that, like, if you've got happiness just sanctioned off, and you know that no matter what happens, you're going to be at peace, you're going to be happy, whatever, you're all good. Because, I mean, as a phlegmatic, it's kind of natural to me, but also anybody can achieve that. It's just a state of perception, right? A lot of times perception is what creates whether you're, how you react to things, and perception is what creates your view on life. And if you just, your general view is, oh, it's all good, then regardless of whatever's going on, you're just like, it's all good. It's all good regardless. Then it's like, how do you, what systems do you have in place that can actually move you forward? Because now you don't have any, you don't have rewards to help you. You don't have stress under your butt, the fire under your butt to help you. Like, yeah, all those things are taken away, they're stripped away. So it is difficult. It's definitely a position that's like almost a curse if you allow it to be. So it's like you have to develop your own self-control structures that are not necessarily based on a reward system or a stress system, whatever. You have to develop your own self-control that is completely removed from dopamine and serotonin and all of those kinds of things, which is not easy, but it can be done.
Yeah. And Connie says, hey, Ryan, how about if you don't do it, you can't have cream in your coffee? And I'm just imagining this look.
That would be sad. I'll drink it. I'll drink it. But it better be good. No. I'm sometimes cook my own stuff and it turns out terrible and I'll eat it anyways, right? So it's just like,
okay,
I'll eat it if it tastes bad. I won't like it, but I'll still do it.
Nice. Hero says, I have to trick myself into doing a smaller task, and then once I get that task done, I'm in more of a mood to do some more, and then do some more, and then so on and so forth. And I think that's very right. Sometimes you just got to get yourself in motion, even if it seems silly, just simple little task, but all that's doing is it's starting you in that moving forward motion, and that can make all the difference. I run into that all the time. I'm very task oriented. And so when I'm working on, like we were working at your house, I was over there with your brother yesterday, and, it was just like, I looked all around and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. And I'm like psyching myself out a little bit, and so then all I did, then I was like, well, all right, I'm just going to grab this one little piece of trim and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to measure, and just started with just the little, and it was just, I didn't even think beyond measuring the wall. It was like,
that's a huge play. I mean, it works so much, works so well.
And and then before I knew it, I was zipping between the chop saw in the room, and putting stuff in place, because all it took was starting, and then the tasks just started to flow. And before you know it, like 4 or 5 hours goes by, and you're just like, whoa, okay,
Mm-hmm.
here we are.
Yeah, I mean, I
And a
mentioned
bunch done.
earlier, like, if part of the skill to mastering like not being a procrastinator is just starting something. Like starting something is a skill because
Yeah.
if you do it, that motivation just carries you. Like it really is nice. Like there are definitely times where I'm just sitting there like I don't want to do that, but it's like I don't even know where to begin with that. There's so much to do, and then I find something I can do, and I'm like I start it, and then like 4 hours go by, and I'm like, oh wow, I've been doing pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, now we've gone on and on about this topic. Beans are already left. Beans are thanks for being here.
Thanks, Beanser.
Yeah.
Thanks for the great topic.
And man, thank you guys all for being here. We're yeah, it's about time to wrap things up. But man, I really appreciate all you guys here. You guys, your contributions to the chat, everything. It's great to see all of you and seeing some people I haven't talked to in a while. So yeah,
thanks for coming, Mom.
Great to have you guys, and yeah, come back next week when we're gonna do this again. It's gonna be great. Except you're gonna have
you guys.
You're gonna have a better looking host.
Oh,
because it's gonna be Ryan.
Yeah, that's right. Joe gets better as he like fine wine. He ages, and well, he doesn't really age because he's always
really
29.
Age,
but you know what I mean.
That's how it works. I mean,
But it's gonna look really nice.
We're the bomb. That's right. Thanks, Connie. You're the bomb, actually. So
yeah, my mom's the bomb.
Your mom's the bomb. Yeah. We're gonna have to talk about when you guys are coming back to the United States.
Yeah. We're really excited to do that. We can't wait because all the allergies and everything.
Yeah.
Not just that. Our family and everything's over there too. It's so nice to be there. But
yeah. Yep. We'll make sure we put your bathroom door back up before you get there. It'll be great.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. You guys have a great rest of your week. Thank you guys so much for being here. Again, if you have a topic you'd like us to discuss, go to don'tworrywednesday.com, click the submit a topic button, and we'll take it from there, and we'll be happy to do your topic. So, and we are in need of topics, so do it. Yes.
That's right. Thank you guys so much today for the topics you put in. I just want to say that too, because you guys, we got 4, I think. You guys are so good. Thank you.
Great. You guys are awesome. And if you have more, you know where to go. And yeah. But until next time, take great care of yourselves and the people around you. And we love you guys. And we'll see you next time on Don't Worry Wednesday. Until then, we love you.
Love you all, guys. Peace.
Bye-bye.